Hey, welcome to Mr. News Art Class. It's wonderful to see your smiling faces. This lesson is going to be the last in our series on community artwork. So far, we've talked about how art has been used in the communities of cavemen and how important graffiti is to street culture. We've talked about interactive murals that bring communities together to have fun with art. And we've talked about propaganda and advertising, which are both just different ways of trying to convince people to do something. Today, we're going to talk about holiday greeting cards. The first step of creating a holiday greeting card is choosing a holiday. There are lots of holidays to choose from. Once you've chosen your holiday, the rest is as easy as the exact same steps from the last two lessons. Number one, some kind of phrase that makes sense with your holiday. Number two, make that phrase big, bold, and beautiful. And number three, some compelling artwork that matches the theme of your picture. The only difference really between this lesson and the last two is that we're not really trying to convince anybody to do something other than enjoy their holiday.
So if we're talking about holidays and holiday greeting cards, choosing a holiday is kind of our first step. Now, there are some things like birthdays and things like that that we often make greeting cards for. Like you might have a happy birthday card or like a enjoy your spring break card. Now, things like snow days, we don't usually have like greeting cards for those things. It's not really a holiday. Like just because you get a day off of school doesn't mean that's a holiday, right? And birthdays, you don't get a day off of school, and it's also still not a holiday, but it is something we celebrate, and that is definitely something that we could make a greeting card for. But most times when we think about holiday greeting cards, we're thinking about Christmas cards. Some people don't celebrate Christmas, so there's also Hanukkah or Ramadan. Those are some other holidays that are, from other religions. If you're not a Christmas celebrator, there's other religions out there. Then there's also holidays that aren't related to a religion. There's things like New Year's, even Halloween. Like Halloween is one that used to be part of All Hallows Day, which is November 1st. And it's really a 3-day holiday, but we don't need to get into all that. Just, there's some holidays, different holidays that different people celebrate, right? And so your first goal could be to just, pick one of these. I personally am going to go for Christmas because that's like, who doesn't like Christmas, right? That's what I'm going to go for. And then within that, once you've chosen your holiday, your next step is to come up with some kind of theme or motto or saying. There's always this one: happy holidays. That's so bland though. Like when you hear somebody say happy holidays, it's like, yeah, well, which holiday? Which holiday do you want me to have a happy time on? There's also things like Merry Christmas, right? That's a little bit more specific. But again, it's like, what's going to make my Christmas merry, right? When you see, a lot of times these Christmas cards have like whole paragraphs of written stuff in them or poems or something. And you could go that route. Or you could go for something sweet and simple like Merry Christmas. Or you could kind of quote some Christmas song lyrics like, have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. Oh, by golly, have a holly jolly. Anyway, there's lots of different ways you could go with coming up with a sort of holiday theme or written theme. And you could go with something that's standard that, lots and lots of people are quickly going to recognize. Or you could, make up your own. It's totally up to you. I'm going to go with this one, Happy Holidays, because even though it's kind of bland, it really works no matter what holiday you choose. And we want it to be written in big, bold, beautiful letters. So we don't want to just, write it with a pencil and be all small where no one can read it. Right? That's not going to work. We want to be big, bold, and beautiful. Right? So you could do that by creating box letters. We've talked about box letters before in other lessons. Or you could, if you have like big markers or something, right? Like you could totally just like use the edge of a marker and just directly with color. Let me choose a color here. You could just directly, make big, bold letters with a color. But I personally like to plan things out with a pencil first, so that, you can make sure you correct any mistakes that you make, and also it's good for things like overlapping. So there, I've written Happy Holidays, and then the next step with that would be to think about some kind of imagery that goes with the phrase Happy Holidays, right? Now, since I've written Happy Holidays, it's not very specific about which holiday, so I could kind of choose. Oops, I think I pressed undo. Anyway, I can choose kind of any holiday to go along with this phrase. If I had written like Merry Christmas, then I would need to draw like Christmas trees or presents or something. I think, since I've chosen to just say Happy Holidays, there are a lot of different holidays where you get presents. So I could draw a present or a couple of presents here. I could do a simple box with a bow. That's really lame and obviously really tiny. You can't even see it. So, I think what would be better is if I plan something out that takes up this whole space really well. So I'm going to kind of do a 3D present box coming back here behind my letters. Say Happy Holidays and have a big old box behind it. And I'm just kind of sketching things in first. Sketch things with a pencil first it's always a good idea, just to kind of, get placements, make sure you understand where things are going to be. You can erase any mistakes you make. All right, now, do I want to have a ribbon wrapping around this? I think I do. So you can get all of those plans and ideas in place with pencil first. That way when you come to a close, when you're ready to start adding color and detail and stuff, you've got a good idea. All right, do I need a bow on top of that ribbon? I think I'm just going to leave it as just the ribbon and not have a bow. Should I have a bow? I'm going to leave it. Anyway, so in my case, the next step is usually to grab a darker, I think I'm even going to grab, here we go, just a jet black. I like to do dark black outlines. Boom, just bold black outlines. You could do that with a Sharpie if you have one. You could do that with a black marker, black colored pencil. It's totally not necessary, though. You could just let the color of different things cause them to stand out. But usually using a bold black outline like this, especially for words, really helps to make them easy to read. It's always important for your words to be very readable, legible. You want people to be able to read it. And then, you can block them in with colors. So I could choose and say, well, let's do reds and greens, right? If it's Christmas time, I'm going to pick a nice bold red. And I think this program will let me go boom, 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 and boom. Anyway, so you color in your letters and, color in your presents and whatever else you've made here. I'm going to use, whatever. You get the idea. So, to recap, what we're doing here, what we're trying to do here is the same thing we did in our lesson on propaganda and the same thing we did in our lesson on advertising. We're trying to create some kind of a written theme or motto and some kind of imagery that matches and goes along with that written theme and motto. Except that in this case, the written theme or motto is not trying to convince people to do something. It's just holiday related. Is that bright enough? I'm going to make it a little bit brighter. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm just going to jump to the end and let you see what this looks like all finished so that you don't have to waste your time watching me make it, because I think you understand how to color things in. It. That is my pretty much finished little happy holidays with a present thing. You get the idea. So this is just one really big front and center object. It's not like trying to put 600 million tiny little details into the picture. We've just got the one thing. That's it, just a present, right? So, and then we've also got the words that go with it, right? And they match, right? And they're big, bold, and beautiful, right? Everything pops. It's easy to read. That's the idea.
Well, that's it for our series on the link between community and art. I hope you've enjoyed this series, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.